All right, folks, welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. This is our 121st, actually, this is 121st Roundtable with today's startup Israel. And as you know, the 1 Million by 1 Million program is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. Now, we are working actually on several events with Israeli entrepreneurs. On Monday, some of you were part of the roundtable where we did an event with Microsoft Israel, and three 1 million by 1 million scholarships sponsored by Microsoft were awarded at that event to the 10 contestants. So today we are going to work with 5 startups just formed their company. So these are absolutely fresh, hot off the press startups, and we'll see how far they've been able to get, and we'll try to help them get a little further so that when their session happens in the next couple of days, they can make a good impression on the judges. Now, if you're tweeting today's event, please use the hashtag 1M1M. Our Twitter account is at 1M by 1M. You'll love live tweeting from there, and also kindergartens or after-school community centers or teachers who operate in that segment to work with in your validation process.
What do you think about the customer acquisition part?
So in the beginning, you're going to have to acquire customers. Depends on which market you go after. If you go after the American market, there's a very active social media penetration into the American teachers market. So there are social media vendors like HotChalk, for instance, has an educational network for teachers, parents, and kids. But you could go to market through those kinds of networks. You could advertise through those networks. You could, but the validation, you're going to have to go find, some teachers yourself, and talk to them and find their feedback and so forth, based on certain criteria. I think it's you need to find early adopters who are open to experimentation, and a lot of these teachers actually are hanging out at different blogs. You could find blogs where these teachers are hanging out that fit your segment and start talking to them.
I understand. So thank you, Sramana, for your help.
Move on. Thank you, Sramana. One company has decided not to present queue up, so we're going to go straight to Video Chef.
Okay.
Yeah, so Video Chef, come on up. Yeah, so just kind of just flip really quickly through that, and good, Video Chef. So I'm going to invite Menachem to come on up.
Hi.
Menachem.
Hi, Menachem.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What is Video Chef?
So, yeah, we are Video Chef. My name is Menachem Perlman. I'm representing Video Chef. We are a group of 5 people: Omer, Orly, Omri, and Nissan.
Yeah.
And how we move? Okay. So what you see on the left is what happened when men cooking a meal. So it's very nice omelet, but this is what happened when they're cooking. But when they're trying to make better meal and open a cookbook, this is what happened on the right side. This is what happened. And I was a chef in my studies, and a lot of my wife friends call me and tell me, please teach my husband to be a better cook. This is what they're doing all the time. So I decided to develop Video Chef. Video Chef, it's online interactive collaboration website that connects between people that love to cook and want to teach other people how to be a better cook.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next slide if you want it to move.
Okay.
Next slide, please.
So this is the next slide. It's okay. So our segmentation analysis that we did, that it's our target market will be people between 18 to 15, and our customer acquisition will be email marketing, social media marketing, cooking lessons that already exist, and we will reach them and promote our service. And then we will do partnership with restaurants recipes, websites, TV shows that already exist. So who are our competitors? So our competitors is websites like YouTube and Google Plus that people already doing their online cook class. On the left, you can see Table for 10. It's private people that started a few minutes ago to create online class. The people join them. And on the bottom, you can see recipes websites.
Okay.
So we started to do customer validation. We spent for more than...
Your competitive analysis is missing probably the competitor for this segment, and I am sorry to say that company is a 1 million by 1 million company. It's iFoods.tv.
What?
This is a direct competitor for what you're trying to do.
Okay.
And they have many million users already.
Okay.
And they do exactly the same thing?
They're doing the same?
Exactly the same.
Okay, great. So our question for you is, first we will like to get your feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So
there is, based on the fact I obviously know this space very, very well because we have a company doing exactly this. Yes, there are customers who want to do this. There are customers who are, customer validation is almost the fact that you have a large competitor or larger competitor in that space where millions of users are using, these recipe cooks, chefs teaching classes, kind of the Food Network on the internet kind of concept. So this is actually a validated concept. So I think your question really is how would you compete with existing players, and the other big question I would like you to think about is the monetization model. It takes a long time to get a lot of users. This is a business that is largely an advertising kind of business.
yeah.
So you are going to have to build up to millions of users before advertising actually starts to pay off, because there is a tremendous amount of excess advertising inventory out there in the market right now. So the CPMs that publishers are getting for that inventory are very low. You need a very substantial amount of traffic for you to be able to start monetizing at any reasonable rate. So the question you're going to run into is that how do you build the beginning of this business? How do you bootstrap to some revenue? And no investor wants to fund companies at a concept stage these days. They want to see traction, and they want to see all kinds of validation: customer validation, business model validation, price model validation, customer acquisition strategy validation. All of that stuff they want before they fund. So you're going to run into a chicken and egg with this business, which is how do you finance the early stages of the business when you have no way to monetize and nobody is going to fund it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have another question. What do you think about give a free class to get more customers and validate our market?
Say that again?
Did you see my presentation?
The last question.
The last question.
Would you offer one free class to get to great amount of users in order to validate our market? Would I offer, or would you offer?
It's I offer, yeah.
Oh, so you are saying that you're going to have paid classes. These classes are paid classes, that people pay to attend these classes.
Yeah.
I think you're going to run into, I don't think this business model is going to work, because what's happening out there is that chefs are giving free classes. Mostly they are giving free classes. They're not giving paid classes.
Okay, thank you.
So the one thing that you can look into is to get like really high-level celebrity chefs to do, paid classes, and maybe people would be interested in learning from that. That may be a different business, slightly different business, and that actually is something that you can start monetizing right away. And in that case, the validation that you need to do is go to celebrity chefs and ask if they want to use your platform to do these kinds of programs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rafael. Okay, so we actually have Xgelt up next, and if we have time, actually, QApp would like to present at the end. We've convinced them that it's a worthwhile opportunity. So let's go to Xgelt, and then we'll scale back to QApp. Okay?
All right. Who's presenting from Xgelt? I see a very attractive team. They look very good.
Thank you. So I'm Ori, as you can see, the one which is the less attractive. And
You can't see you in the camera, so tell them
okay, I am the one with the blue sweatshirt.
This one? Or this one?
The third one.
The third one from the left.
Here, okay, got it.
Okay, great.
The third from the left.
Yeah. So first,
All right.
thanks for the opportunity. So let's go for what we're aiming for. Basically, me and my guys like to hang out and go camping together. It comes up that I'm the organizer for all those events.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and then, at the end of the day, I found out that I'm a bit short with people paying back.
Yeah.
So we come to think about it, it will be great if people can use their mobile phone and just pay me back on the spot with the mobile phone.
Mm-hmm.
We find it very difficult, as you can see in the bottom of the slide, to find the same payment method we all want to use. There are so many differences.
But there's one big competitor missing from your slide here, which is OboPay, who does exactly what you want to do.
OboPay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are other different geographies. There is MCheck in India that does the same thing. OboPay is a global company that's doing the same thing. There are other competitors. This is a very crowded space. Peer-to-peer mobile payment has become a very crowded space.
Okay, so well, let's continue for a second and see if this is exactly the same spot. So our solution basically allows to pay everyone, each payment provider to another payment provider, which is currently kind of closed within the payment providers.
Mm-hmm.
So what we suggest is simply an application that I open up my contacts, find the vid, and choose the amount I want to pay, press send, and then we simply send the money.
Okay.
Behind the scene, what's happening is that actually we don't really care what is the payment method I'm using or is choosing. When I sign up to the service, I choose what I want to pay. I want to pay with PayPal, and I want to get paid to PayPal. When you pay, you want to pay from your bank account. Okay? Behind the scene, we're doing the proc, changing the money from one place to another.
Mm-hmm.
From the user perspective, sending an SMS with the amount of money you want to send.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay. So the market, as you said, is a well-known market. The trend is ramping up. The mobile payments is ramping up. There are a lot of big competitors in this market. We're trying not to compete with them. We're trying to bring up the peer-to-peer motto in order to tell people can send money from one to each other, not just to merchants. We can give money from one to each other, and very easily. The simplicity of this product is the foundation of this product. We want to do it as easy as sending an SMS. Our approach will be to go to the mass market as fast as we can, since our users are the customers, the consumers. At the end of the table, we'll need to reach out to them as fast as we can. So we thought of working with a couple of partners such as WhatsApp or Viber, which are already in the peer-to-peer industry and have wide grasp on the customer acquisition. Of course, we'll be launching our own standalone application, but this will be probably used as a platform from other app developers that can use our platform to do the payment at the end from peer-to-peer. The competitive analysis we did was to take the main players in this market, which is the banks, that you can do money transfer for them, but they are very complicated. I see
And not
that
the main players.
the what?
Not the main players.
Okay. So who are the main players? We found Cash and some other players in this market. But
we need to do a lot of comparative analysis research here, comparative research here. Definitely OboPay is probably going to show up as one of the top competitors. Depending on which geography you're going after, MCheck is another one. You can go to my blog, you'll find the OboPay case study, you'll find the MCheck case study. We have covered this segment extensively, which is why I know a lot about it. And and there are actually more players that have come up since. So, and the other point I will make here is that these are very, very expensive to build companies from an operational point of view. You have to negotiate with the banks, you have to negotiate with all the different players in the back end for them to agree to work with you, to interface with you, and all that makes this it's a very complex business to build, and yes, to deliver the kind of simplicity that you want to deliver from a user experience point of view of just sending an SMS payment, the back end is extremely complex, and the business is extremely complex operationally.
Okay. So the trends in the mobile payment market.
Correct. Your trend analysis is absolutely on the mark. There's a tremendous amount of mobile payment going on, and including peer-to-peer mobile payment. The trend is absolutely correct.
Okay. So we'll look at OboPayment to see exactly what they're doing, to see if we can still match up and see something, give some added value on their services. What do you think would be the best strategy for going to the market?
Well, you need to see what other people are doing. The two go-to-market strategies that I've seen over and over again is going to market with carriers. You can partner with carriers to go to market, and you can partner with banks to go to market.
Okay.
So those are essentially big business development deals that you need to do to to build those relationships. And again, it's better to do it on a geography-specific basis. By the way, Africa, if you're interested in Africa, this whole mobile payment and peer-to-peer payment, all this is booming in Africa, absolutely.
Yes, we know that Africa is really booming, but the problem is exactly the regulation inside each one of those geographies.
Each markets have regulation, so you have to pick a market to go after where you see a gap. You look at the way I always advise entrepreneurs to do comparative analysis and comparative positioning is to lay out everybody in your market, really look at all the details of their strategies and figure out where are the gaps, where are the gaps and gaps that are likely to remain for the next 2-3 years, because there's a gap that is going to get filled within the next 3 to 5 months. That is not a real gap.
Okay.
That will get filled. By the time you get ready and get your act together, that gap is going to get filled.
Yeah, of course. So we need something that will sustain for at least 2 years.
So I would say in your case, since again you're going after something very crowded, lots of players, lay it out. Identify all the players and lay it out. Where are they penetrating? Where are they having success? What are their partnerships? What are their go-to-market channels? And figure out where are the gaps.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Very well.
Thanks for the opportunity.
And we're going to scooch back if we have a chance to queue up.
Yeah.
And we've got to queue up.
Let me circle back.
Right, video, so there we go, exactly. And we've got Yael here to present. One more slide back, there we go.
Hi, Sramana. My name is Yael. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm here to
Change
present.
your mind.
Sorry?
I'm glad you changed your mind.
Well, it wasn't my decision, it was a team decision, and I'm here to speak on behalf of our team, which basically includes developers, marketing professionals, and business developers. Our idea is queue up, never wait in line again. Can you move forward?
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, this is a very bad situation to be, and I'm sure as we have, you probably also experienced this kind of situation in the past where you had to wait in line for minutes, maybe hours, And this is very uncomfortable and very time-consuming both for the customers and for the businesses. And we came up with a solution which is called QApp. This is basically a mobile application that enables people to save time, and they can actually take a ticket to wait in queue from everywhere. They don't have to be inside the facilities. It saves time, and it enables you to control your schedule. And as we said, businesses can also increase the service level, and they don't lose as they do today. At least the ones that we spoke to, they complain about this problem. And by that, they can obviously also save money. We think that this application might be good for many kinds of businesses, which includes small businesses and enterprises. But we decided to target first the small business market in Israel, mostly the ones that are located in malls or shopping centers, because when you're waiting in line inside a shopping center, you can go to visit other places. If you already know that your queue is going to be only in 30 minutes or so, then you can go to a different business that's right behind the corner and do something else during this time. We're going to target places who don't have an existing system already, because it's easier to implement an entire solution and not add ourselves to an existing one. And we're going to search places with high demand and long waiting times. We're going to target them mostly with direct marketing, which we already started doing, just picking up the phone and making appointments and getting them interested, and also by partnerships and going to relevant conferences.
Yeah, just a second.
Yes.
Can you give me a use case of what kind of what do you envision that people are doing when, let's say, a mom is waiting in line, waiting for the kid to come out of school, long
Sure.
wait time, 30 minutes of waiting time. What do you envision? What kind of activities do you envision them doing?
Well, basically, we already spoke to one client in Israel. It is a beauty salon chain store. They provide nail polish services inside malls. And they have long queues, and people are waiting there a long time. During this time, they can go and drink coffee, they can go shopping, they can do a lot of other things.
And you want to provide them with coupons for coffees and stuff? Is that what you're saying?
No, we're going to provide them with a service that will enable them to monitor the queue.
Monitor the queue.
We can use coupons too. I mean, it's a great idea. We haven't thought of it. We can.
So I guess the problem I'm having here is, whose problem are you solving?
We're solving the problem.
The problem of long waiting time, or the vendor, the merchant's problem of managing the queue?
We're solving both. First of all, we're solving the user's problem, that they're wasting a lot of time, especially in Israel. I don't know how it is in your place, but here when you go to or the bank or the post office, you can wait in line for sometimes over an hour, which is ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do in an hour. Why waste your time just waiting in line?
Right.
And also the problem of the businesses, because they are losing customers, they are giving lousy service, and
so you're saying that you are going to create some sort of a login. Somebody wants to interact with the business. They basically log themselves and put themselves on the waiting list, and the queue and the restaurant or the nail salon can notify them that we are going to take you at such and such time, or ping them when they're ready to take, and they come back from whatever else they're doing, and they don't have to stand in the queue. Is that what you're saying?
Not exactly. They don't have to notify them. The application already does that automatically.
So that's what I'm saying. The application, you are providing a capability. Like I remember when I used to live in Boston, and this is actually a common way of dealing with this. We had a Mexican restaurant in Harvard Square called Borders Cafe. And these guys were very popular, lots of queue, and they would give this little device to carry, and you can go off and do whatever, and when they're ready to take you, the device vibrates.
Okay, that's good to know that something similar already works. But here you don't have to give them a device; they're just using their mobile phone.
Right. Right.
And they can
That is
also.
you're trying to manage that queue so that people don't have to stand in line. They can go off and do whatever they want, but the merchant has an ability to let the consumer know to come back.
Exactly, but also you don't have to actually go to the restaurant in order to take the tickets. You can do it from home. You know that the restaurant is packed at this time. Just you can log in from home and see what the situation, how many people are waiting in line, and you know when to leave your home.
It's a good idea, I think. Is there anybody else doing this? It's a good idea.
Not exactly this. You can move forward, and we'll see our competitors. First of all, the market validation. We already have 2 potential customers in Israel that are interested. Yeah, in 24 hours. And there's also a new regulation in Israel that we think will be a very good opportunity to penetrate the market. If you move to the next slide, you will see our competitors. Basically, we didn't find anybody in Israel who does exactly the same thing. With you, which are the next ones after us in the table, they enable you to send an SMS and to get back an SMS telling you what's the situation right now. And then you'll get an additional SMS when your turn is up. But it's not an application, and there's no way to track in real time what's going on in line. Okay. The other existing companies for queue management, but they don't offer a service of ordering a number in advance. Okay. So it's the most similar things we found.
And what do you propose to charge for this?
Okay, so we thought of 2 different ways. The first one is to charge a very, very small fee for every order of a queue. In Israel, we checked it out. A lot of people would be willing to pay 1 shekel, which is a quarter of a dollar, in order to prevent standing in line for so long. And the other way is to charge the businesses. If a business wants to improve their service and not to lose so many clients as they do today, to pay something around. We haven't calculated everything. It's still primary, but we're thinking about something like 1,500 shekels, which is a month, something like $400 a month for this service. But we'll
that will depend on what segment you're going after. I think your instincts are reasonably. I think they're correct. You need to charge the merchants. For some reason, and this you'll have to check out. I'm just giving you my gut feeling. Is that probably a software as a service business model, rather than a transaction-based business model, is going to be more appealing to them. So some sort of a subscription software as a service is the most likely business model for this. But you can ask the customers. You already have started talking to customers, so you can talk to customers, get like 100 different data points, and see what is the what is common across them.
Yes. Okay. Maybe a different strategy for different companies will be the right thing to do. Maybe bigger companies would be willing to pay, and restaurants will be saying that whoever wants to pay, they can pay for themselves, and we're not gonna.
No. I think you should have one uniform pricing model. Especially, I don't think consumers are going to pay for this.
I see. Okay.
How much you're willing to pay is you can have different bands, different pricing bands. The amount of pricing is going to be different between small companies, small restaurants versus large companies. But I think in terms of the business model, it's going to be the same across the board.
Okay, that's a good point.
I would recommend that you choose which segments to go after. Big companies, small companies, medium-sized companies, what is the sweet spot? Where do you because the go-to-market strategies are very different across those different segments, the go-to-market strategies are very, very different. So you can't, I would prefer that you don't try to do all of those segments at once. You need to figure out what is your market penetration segment and define a go-to-market strategy based on that. So you can pick which one you want to go after and accordingly develop your go-to-market strategy.
Okay. Well, basically, we're going to start with small businesses, but our vision is eventually getting the whole over the market in Israel for every company that has this need, whether it's small or big or whatever. But at the moment, we're going to concentrate on small businesses in or shopping centers.
And small businesses, even within small businesses, you want to target segments.
Okay.
If you go after restaurants, then go after restaurants as your first segment. If you're going after malls or merchants working in malls, go after that, because there is a viral effect that is going to happen. So if you see that you sell to a bunch of businesses inside a mall, the viral effect is going to, the word of mouth is going to spread, right?
Right, right.
The reason we do segmentation so carefully is to give maximum opportunity for the word of mouth to spread.
Yes, you're right. You're right. We were basically one of our interested customers is a beauty salon chain store, which is located inside malls, and we were thinking to go in this direction.
That's okay.
Okay. How do you feel about expanding to markets abroad? Should we go on and market by ourselves or partner with local?
You know, it again depends on what direction do you want to go. If you want to sell to restaurants, for instance, there are certain players that are deeply penetrated into the restaurant market who are looking for monetization models. So you could look at Yelp, you could look at OpenTable. These are companies that have penetration. Zagat, these guys have deep penetration into the restaurant market. You could go talk to them and create some sort of an OEM partnership whereby they sell your product because they already have existing relationships with these customers at a very large scale. It would make it easy for you to penetrate that market.
Okay. And the last question is a more, well, basically we're going to present in front of investors tomorrow, so we were wondering how important do you think it is for investors to see rough numbers of statistical information, or should we not waste our time on that?
It depends on what numbers. The TAM numbers investors want to see, but I mean, I think I understand that you're just like 2-3 days old company, so investors, I hope, are going to have realistic expectations of what you can produce in 2-3 days. I don't think they will expect to see a P&L analysis in terms of numbers. I don't think they would want to see a profit and loss analysis. I just don't think it's realistic to produce that in 2 or 3 days.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. It's been very helpful. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Sorry for all the confusion and the back and forth. It's one of those sort of commando situations here. And it was great to see you again.
All right. Just a second, Donna. We have to take some audience questions here. That's a custom that we follow in our roundtables. So, folks in the audience, if you have any questions, either for the presenters or for me, please feel free to use the public chat, and we'll just do a few minutes Q&A and then get going. All these presenters have lots of homework to do before their pitches tomorrow to the investors, and we need to let them go. Anybody? Any questions? Any comments? All right. So while you guys are doing that, I'm going to quickly go through our customary 1M1M presentation. So one of the things we request, if you liked what you saw today, if the experience of getting some experienced feedback or seasoned feedback was useful to you, then please help us by telling other fellow entrepreneurs about the 1 million by 1 million service. It's available. These roundtables are available for free on a regular basis, so you can avail of this from anywhere in the world. Other resources we offer are, we have the Entrepreneur Journeys book series and the blog. I referred to some case studies today while I was talking to you about your businesses. We have an extensive set of over 500 case studies on the blog. So you can look up, if you're researching a particular segment, very often you would find case studies for that segment on the blog, and you can look it up and you can model after other entrepreneur success stories. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series is based on the case studies, and each of the volumes have 12 to 16 case studies, and they focus on specific points. In particular, bootstrapping and positioning are two cornerstone philosophies. Why am I harping so much on segmentation, on competitive positioning, on go-to-market strategy? Because these are the elements of building a business that are going to help you to be efficient, capital efficient, and be successful within your resource constraints. Every one of you are going to be incredibly resource constrained. No question, right? Startups by definition are resource constrained. Even if you get funding, you will still be resource constrained because that is just the way it operates. They're going to give you a little bit of money, maybe, investors, and you're going to have to prove a lot of stuff before you can go out and ask for more money. So positioning and bootstrapping are really, really key pieces of the Entrepreneur Journeys series. There are 2 volumes. Positioning, How to Test, Validate, and Bring Your Idea to Market is Volume 3, and Bootstrapping, Weapon of Mass Reconstruction is Volume 2. All the books are available on Amazon Kindle. You can get it from anywhere in the world. The blog is at sramanamitra.com. And the roundtables happen almost always on Thursday mornings. Except this next couple of weeks, I'm traveling in India, so we're doing a lot of live roundtables in India in person. So we're not doing the online roundtables the next couple of weeks. So you'll find the dates on our website. Now, we do have a premium program for 1 million by 1 million where you get extensive methodology guidance. We have a very, very comprehensive curriculum, and we've heard people say this is like an MBA for entrepreneurship because we cover all the topics that you need to know in the core curriculum, and then we have elective modules for specific industry segments. We do a lot of business development and strategy consulting. Business development, we introduce where we have connections, we introduce you to customers, channel partners, and this kind of roundtables happen in a more in-depth format inside the premium program as members-only private sessions. So there's still group roundtables, and you have the benefit of the curriculum, which is video lectures and case studies, and then you come to the private roundtables to have more in-depth discussions. And we help with financing. We are very deeply connected into the financing ecosystem of the world, and we help you with financing as well. One thing I would recommend all of you to do is go do the self-assessment. As you're developing your business, go through the 1M1M self-assessment. It's a very good place for you to play around and just develop an understanding of where your gaps are. And these are the kinds of things investors typically look for. And of course, in the self-assessment, you also have curriculum modules. If you're a premium member, you would also be able to access the curriculum module and fill your knowledge gap, if you have any, in any of the areas that you are working with. The site is 1m1m.sramanamitra.com. We have a lot of information on the site, the premium program information, what to expect from the premium program, FAQ, video messages, all sorts of things you will find on the site. And our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups, which is pretty much the state of the art in the venture ecosystem today. Nobody funds PowerPoints anymore. Over 99% of entrepreneurs who go out to seek capital get rejected. Why? For a variety of different reasons, because they're too early, they're not validated well enough, they don't have this, they don't have a large enough market opportunity, the team is not mature, whatever. There are a variety of reasons that investors cite to reject aspiring entrepreneurs seeking to raise funding. So what we try to do is really prepare you as much as possible, get as far as possible based on your own resources in a bootstrap mode so that you can play this very low probability game of financing with the odds a little bit more in your favor. And the curriculum, by the way, has 7 core modules: bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. So it's basically geared towards preparing you fully on all the dimensions of a core entrepreneurship exercise in the domain of IT and IT-enabled services. So whether you're building online businesses or whatever, and the electives actually talk about our focus on the specific trends we are seeing in the market where we see a lot of companies, and that's where the electives are focused. Web 3.0 and e-commerce, we see a lot of web businesses. We do a lot in cloud computing, business solutions, software as a service, mobile and social apps, healthcare IT, online education. We see a ton of education. We have lots of education companies in the program. Gaming is very big, and of course outsourcing and consulting. So we have hundreds of case studies of successful entrepreneurs. They have sat down and shared their lessons from the trenches so that you can benefit from them. The experience is equivalent to sitting down and having a cup of coffee with somebody very, very experienced who's being very generous in teaching you what they have learned. So it's a very, very powerful curriculum. So upcoming free roundtables are April 12th, April 19th, April 26th, and a whole bunch in May. As I said, I have a bunch of roundtables in India. On April 2nd in Bangalore, there are 3 roundtables in the afternoon at the office of Citrix. So if any of the participants today are from India and particularly from Bangalore, you will have several roundtables to work with. And then I'm in Pune. We have a meetup, informal meetup in Pune on Saturday, this Saturday, from 3 to 5 p.m. India time, and then on Calcutta on March 23rd, Friday evening, 6 to 9 p.m. That's hosted by Thai Kolkata. So that's kind of the set of comments I have. If there are any questions, I'll give you another couple of minutes to ask questions, and then we'll wrap up the session.
Okay. No questions from this end. I don't know if any of the callers have any questions.
All right. Looks like we are pretty much done.
Okay. So
good luck everybody with your pitch this weekend. Hopefully you'll make a lot of progress, and feel free to use the 1M1M services. Okay. Everybody's waving goodbye. Thank you so much. Have a great trip to India. Thank you. Bye-bye. Soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.